What's up, Mindsetters? Welcome to it. It is a Thursday evening. Is it evening or afternoon now?
Evening, I think.
Evening-ish.
Evening. I'm tired enough to go to sleep. It must be evening.
Yes. So welcome to it, guys. You're hanging out with Looney. And Haley, how are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So what are we doing for the grade 11 today?
Today we're going to do some exam questions. Paper 2 exam questions. So they need to be focused there 100%. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Maths, look, guys, you heard it. We're doing paper 2 exam questions. So I hope you guys have your notepads out. You're going to take down everything that Haley's going to teach you, and you're going to enjoy the lesson. Before we start, though, if you see this beauty, can you just have a little moment for it? Guys, we do have a Learn Extra exam revision marathon competition going on, and we're giving away some awesome prizes from Samsung. If you can just look at this one, it's so awesome, guys. So we're giving away Tab 3s, Note 8s, and tablets as well. So all you need to do is download the show notes. Right at the bottom of the last page, you have a race number, almost an exam number. You have a race number. What you do with that race number, you go to www.mindset.co.za/learn/win. That is the entry form. You fill in your entry form with your race number. Make sure everything is correct, guys, because what happens to that entry form, once you've filled it in and you sent it through, it gets taken to a lucky draw. We've been having lucky draws like past few weeks, so make sure you do watch all the live shows to check if we're not having a lucky draw, because we do announce a winner when we have a lucky draw, guys, and you might stand a chance to win one of these awesome Samsung devices. Thank you so much to Samsung for giving us these awesome devices to give away to you guys, because we want you guys to access the Learning Hub. It is an awesome tool on the Samsung devices that you can use to access the exam revision content that we have from Learn Extra. So make sure, guys, you enter the competition so that you can have yourself this lovely baby. How you can get a hold of us on Facebook is facebook.com/Learn Extra. On Twitter, our handle is @LearnExtra. All the exam school revision notes are on www.mindset.co.za/Learn Extra/revision. All the notes, schedules, and the videos. So with all that said, we are going to do exam revision questions for paper 2 with Haley.
After all that, I'm just thinking, I want one of those.
No, we all want.
Enter. And I'm just going to say a shout out to my grade 11s, because I'll get into trouble if I don't. So hi, guys. Okay, moving on to today's questions. Right, so paper 2 questions. In this lesson, we're going to revise. Oh, I need a pen. We're going to revise and do selected paper 2 exam questions. We've gone through the exemplar paper. We've taken out the questions that we think are really interesting, really challenging, and that's what I'm going to do with you today. So, like I said to you, adapted from the exemplar paper, and this is question 1, and it has quite a bit of information. Now, I know some of you kids are lazy in reading the actual story that comes before the paper. It's really important, especially in paper 2, you need to understand the context of what the actual story is about. So we've got Lorato, who wants to earn extra money to use towards her studies. After seeing how many people buy chip twisters, she investigated the possibility of selling chip twisters herself. And she needs the following to start her business. Now, first of all, her fixed assets that she needs a cutter to slice the potatoes into rings. She needs a deep fryer to fry the potatoes. Then her consumable goods, remember that's your variable expenses. Okay, she needs potatoes, bamboo sticks, oil for frying, and seasoning. And if you didn't know what a potato twister looks like, well, I hope you can actually see this here. Chip twister is you take a whole potato, you kind of like twist it all around, extend it on a bamboo shoot, and fry it, and it's absolutely delicious. So that is what it looks like. I hope you can see. Right, let's see. She finds out that she can buy the cutter and the deep fryer for 1730. Most important, always highlight your numbers. She asks her uncle to lend her the money to buy the cutter. They're going to lend her the money and the fryer. He agrees that she can repay him at the end of 2 years, but at a compound interest rate of 7.5% per year, compounded annually. So what is important to note here? It's compounded annually. We know that that means it's once a year, 1 times per year. So that is something we need to look out for. We've got compound interest. how often it's compounded. Calculate how much she must repay her uncle after the 2 years. Right, so let's get a little bit of space here. We know that she is borrowing. How much money is she borrowing? She is borrowing, in fact, let's write that out. So she's going to borrow an amount of 1730. We know that the time period is 2 years, and we know that the interest rate that he's charging her is 7.5%. I'm going to write it as 7.5%. Right, so now, and we know that it's compounded. So we'll make a note that this is also compounded. And what do we mean by compounded? Compounded, we're going to be paying interest on the interest. Now, the best way to do this is to actually break it down year by year. So we start off with her 1,730 Rand. And at the end of that year, we add the interest. So I'm going to add the interest by multiplying it by 107.5%. If you'd like, I like to add a percentage by multiplying by 100 and that percent. But if you'd like to do it by multiplying by 7.5%, working that out, then adding it to the original, it also works. I just like doing it in one step if I can. So let's get my calculator out. Right, so I say 1730 times by 107.5%. And I get an answer of 1859.75. That's 1859.75. Just double checking that that's the correct number I had. 1859.75. Right. That is at the end of year. So this is at the end of year 1. But remember, she was borrowing it for 2 years. So what do we do? At the beginning of the second year, she owes her uncle 1859.75. And to that, we're going to increase it by 7.5%. I'm going to take that answer, get our calculator. I've already got that number in my calculator. If you're using a plain 4-function calculator, you're going to have to retype it. But I can take that and times by 107.5%, get an answer, 1999.23. Right, so that is how much she owes at the end of year 2. Let's change that, end year 2. The question said, calculate how much she must repay her uncle after 2 years. How much must she repay her uncle? She needs to repay her uncle the final amount of 1999.23. So we've answered the question, we've checked the question, we've answered it, done it in steps, and that's perfect. Now, some of you out there, grade 11, some of you, your teachers are going to have taught you the formula, the compound interest formula. You need to practice using it because you will not be given the formula in an exam. Because with a 4-function calculator, we can't just type into a formula. So you need to be able to do it in steps, or you have to remember the formula. So you'll get your marks because you'll get the same answer. They will give you the method marks for working with the formula, but they're not going to actually give you the formula in the paper. So that's important to remember. Let's then move on to our next question. Right, she includes the following costs. We've got a 10-kilogram bag of medium-sized potatoes, and there's an average of 48 potatoes per bag, and that costs us 49 Rand. 100 bamboo sticks, 19.99. 200-gram bottle of seasoning, 8.75 Rand. 750 ml bottle of cooking oil, 12.50 Rand. 9-kilogram gas bottle, 259 Rand. So now what we want to do is, in order to produce one chip twister, Lorata uses 1 potato, 1 bamboo stick, 1.5 grams of seasoning. We need to calculate the cost of producing 1 chip twist using these ingredients. So, our potatoes, let's go back to our potatoes. Potatoes for 10 kilograms, or 48 potatoes, cost us 49 Rand. So we had 49 Rand for 48 potatoes. So now I want to know how much is it going to cost for one. So I'm going to take my 49 and divide by 48. Now let's do that calculation. 49 rand divided by 48 potatoes. It's 1,02. I'm actually going to keep it as 1,0208. Let's see what happens. Sorry, 1,0208. We're probably not going to need that 08, but I'm going to keep it for now. Then we want to do one bamboo stick. So we had 100 bamboo sticks were 19.99. Let's change our color so we can follow. 19.99 for 100 sticks. So I'm going to divide by 100 to get 1, and I'm going to get the answer here. Get my calculator out. 1,99, 19,99. Okay, check your calculator. Divided by 100, and we see that that is 0,1999. So that is 0,1999. That's rands. And what was the last ingredient? We needed 1.5 grams of seasoning, and my 200 grams was 8.75 rand. So I had 200 grams was 8.75 rand, and I need 1.5 grams. So I'm going to take, I'm going to do this on the side here, my 8.75 rand, divide by 200 to get my cost per gram, and times that by 1,5 grams. Let's get that answer. So it was, right, 8,75 divided by 200 and times that by 1.5. And we get an amount of 0,065. 0,0656. 0,656. And now I need to work out the total cost. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add all of these numbers. Have I got everything? Potato, bamboo, and the seasoning. So total, what color haven't I used? Yellow. Total would add them all. So let's get our calculator out. We've got the seasoning price. Let's add 0,1999 plus, how much did we have for? And that was 1,0. My calculator out, move that there. 1,0208. I've got 4 decimal places at the moment. 1,2935. So 1,29. I'll probably go safely say 1,29. So the total is 1.29 rand. Right, so that's worked out all the ingredients. Now she needs, in order to fry the chip twisters, the deep fryer uses 2-liter cooking oil to fry 1 10-kilogram bag of medium-sized potatoes. The 9-kilogram bottle of gas can fry up to 500 chip twisters. Calculate the total cost of producing one chip. So we've got our variable cost for our ingredients. So let's take that number. What was that number? 1,29. We've already got our 1.29 rand. To that we need to add the oil and the gas. So let's work out the price for our oil and the price for our gas. Our oil, we needed 2 liters for 48 potatoes. We only need 1 potato. So what was the price for our 2-liter bottle? Now we've only got 750 mils. Okay, we've got a 750 ml bottle that cost us 12.50 rand. For a whole bucket, we need 2 liters. So let's work out how many for 2,000 milliliters is going to cost us how much. And this is purely just a ratio. Remember, we multiply by, we're going to divide that by 730. No, let's do it this way. we're going to multiply by the second number over the first number. So we're going to take our 12.50, let's rewrite that, our 12 Rand 50. We're going to divide that by 750 and times it by 2,000 to work out the cost for 2 litres. Remember, I've converted in litres. There's 1,000 litres in a millilitres in a litre. So let's do that calculation. So that we've got 12.50 divided by 750 times that by 2,000. So this is the cost now for a full bag. But remember, I don't have a full bag. I've got 48 potatoes, so I'm going to divide by 48. So I'm going to get 0.6944. 0.6944. I better add here that we took that answer and we divided by 48. Okay? And now we have our gas. The 9 kilogram bottle of gas can fry 500 chips, and that was 259 Rand. So it was 259 Rand for 500 chips. We want to know the price for 1 chip, so we're going to divide by 500. I'm getting hungry doing this question. 259 divided by 500. Get an answer of 0.518. And now we're going to take all these numbers and we're going to add them up. So we had that number, and our original 129. So 0.518 I've got. Let's to that add 0, let's do that again. It was 1 Rand 29 plus, let's move my calculator a little bit, 0.6944 plus 0.518. And I get an answer of 2 Rand 50. We round that off. That's what it costs her to make her potato chip, potato twister. And I think on that note, because I'm really hungry, I'm going to give you guys a break.
Okay. Mindset is let's take a very quick break, go get some juice, some water, and then we'll see you straight after this. Welcome back, Mindsetters, from that break. I hope you guys are still enjoying the show. Just to mention something here from Mukove Shadrach Ramova. He says, I like what I'm seeing. And then he's got a screen grab of our page. We are at 59,175 likes. And then he continues to say he's asking by Monday that we get to 60,000. So all you guys need to do is get your friends to like our page. It is facebook.com/learnextra. It is of great help, guys, because we post the show notes, we post motivational quotes and everything. We post competition information. We post everything that's important for you guys to know on our Facebook page. So make sure you ask all your friends to join Team Mindset. Come, join this little bus of ours and let's carry on the journey together, because we've got some great followers, guys. So thank you so much to all you Team Mindsetters out there. We love you very much. And with that said, Haley.
Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back. So now let's move on to the next question. We worked out that it costs her 2 Rand 50 to make a chip twister. Loretta sells the chip twisters at a local flea market. Her rent and transport costs per week is about 450 Rand. Write down the formula that Loretta can use to calculate her weekly costs to produce and sell chip twisters if the total production cost of 1 chip twister is 2 Rand 50. Now look how stunning that is. We have just done this whole long calculation and got an answer of 2 Rand 50. And then they go and they tell us that the actually cost is 2 Rand 50. So now we know, hey, we got all those marks right. And that's absolutely awesome. So write the formula in the form of, right, her weekly cost in Rand. So let's write this out. We've got her weekly cost in Rands. I don't know if I need to rewrite that. Weekly cost in Rands is equal to 450. That is her fixed cost per week. Plus, it's costing her £2.50 for every potato that she makes. So times the number of chip twisters. So every one that she makes is costing her £2.50. So there's your formula, fairly easy actually. Hence, or otherwise, calculate how many chip twisters she must make if her weekly costs are 1,700 Rand. So how many chips does she make? So now what we have is that we know that her costs are 1,700 Rand. That's her total cost. And we know that that was equal to her fixed cost plus £2.50 times the number. I'm going to write the number as NO. So now we can work this out quite easily. We need to manipulate the formula. We need to move that to the other side, and we're going to change the sign. So we're going to have our 1,700 minus her fixed cost, and that's going to be equal to £2.50 times the number. We don't know what that number is. Now, if you'd like to leave out the rand signs in your calculations, that's fine. Just don't forget that we always have a reference, so we normally need to put a unit into our answer. So I'm going to work that out. Now let's get our calculator out. Move my calculator back to where I like it. Okay, so it's 1,700 minus 450. We also have 1,250. So that's 1,250. And that's equal to your 250 times the number. So to get the number on its own, we're going to divide by the 250, because those 250 then there cancel out. And we end up with our number is equal to, take our answer, got our answer, divide by £2.50, not 51, 50, and it's our 500. So she has made 500 chip twisters. And that was fairly easy to do. Right, let's move on to the next question. The next question actually gives us the graph. It's a graph showing Lorata's weekly income from the sales of her chip twisters, and it's drawn on the graph below. So first, I like to analyze a graph, always do. So we've got income and cost for the chip twisters. Chip twisters, with a tongue twister, that one. The number of chip twisters and the amount of money, and we can see that they've already given us her income. So the first question says, on the same grid, draw the graph showing Lorata's cost of producing and selling the chip twisters. So we want her costs. So on the same graph, we need to draw that. Now we had a fixed cost of 450. So we're going to start our graph at 450. And it's not the most accurate of graphs. And we know that 500 was 1,700. I'm going to draw that. And I'm going to try and join these dots up. Now this is not going to be the most accurate. I'm going to try it anyway. So I need to draw a graph from about there. In fact, that's a bit high. Let's try from just below there. Okay. Carry on through that point. Right. On the computer, it's a little bit harder to do, but you guys have got pens and paper, and you can do this. You need to have at least 3 points that you can plot the graph. Okay, now fixed cost and draw a straight line, because it's going up at a constant rate, it'll be a straight line. So it says on the same grid, draw the graphs. We've done that. Label the graph. Don't forget to label it. Let's go back to my pen. What color was this? So this is expense. Right, then it says, use the graph to answer the following questions. Determine the selling price of a chip twister. Now we've got her income, so we need to work out how we're going to work out her selling price. So we can take, let's get back to my ruler, take it at a single point, but take it at a point that actually makes sense. Like if I can work out how many cost for 100, so 100 chips, she's earning 400 Rand. So what do I know? Get my pen, yellow pen. from the graph, we know that for 100 chips, she's making 400 rand. So what is going to cost her for one chip? So we're going to divide by 100, and it's going to be 4 rand per chip. The next question says, how many chip twisters must Loretta sell in order to break even? And remember, break even is when your two lines cross. So let's go back to our graph and see what was that value that the two lines crossed. We know that that value is there. She needs to sell 300 chips for break even. And a break even amount of money, you can do that as well, is 1,200. They might ask it that way. So what did they ask? They asked how many chips. So we know that the chips was 300. Perfect. Let's move on to the next question. Right, we're on to question 2. This is your paper 2 question, again from the exemplar paper, and this was question number 3. In this question, we've got Marvin has a gym. In 2012, a total of 1,150 people attended the weightlifting classes. He kept a record of the number of males, females, and racers who attended the weightlifting classes from the 1st of January to the 31st of December 2012. Remember, highlight numbers. So we've got the dates that we're working with, and we've got the number of people. Use the pie chart and the table below to answer the questions that follow. So first, analyze the tables. Our table gives us the number of males and females attending the weightlifting class, and now we've got it per month. The month, the number of males, number of females, and January through to December. Now look at all that. I can see that I've got a total for the males. I can see that I'm missing the total for the females. Straight away, like bells are going off in my head. I know how to calculate that. We'll come back to that. I can see that I've got an A there. I'm sure I'm going to have to calculate that. Let's look at the pie chart. The pie chart shows us the percentages. So we've got 82% male, 18% of female, and our female's been broken down into a further graph, into a stack graph, where we know we've got 5.08% African, B% colored, 8.2% white, 8.26%, and 1.57% Asian. So that makes up my 18% of my females. The question says, give the ratio in its simplest form of the number of female weightlifters to male weightlifters who attended the class in September. Now, it's important that we get the order of a ratio correct. They have told us they want females to males. So we're going to go back to our table, and we want it for September. Find September. There's my September. I want females first, so it's 15 to 80. Now that is 15 to 80. And now to simplify this, you can use your calculator if you've got a scientific calculator, and we write it as 15 divided by 80, because remember, a ratio you can write as a fraction. Press equals, and I see that it's actually 3 to 16. Right, if you don't have a scientific calculator, you're going to have to divide both sides by 5 to get the simplest. Calculate the missing value A and B. So for A, how are we going to work out this missing value? Well, first of all, what we need to do is let's erase that so we can see what's going on. We know the missing value is one of the values that adds up to my total. So first, let me work out the total number of females. So how am I going to do that? Well, in my text, I remember reading a number. There was 1,150 in total. So we got 1150 in total. I know how many males there are. So I can immediately get my calculator out and calculate how many females there are. So it was 1150 minus 943. And I see that it was 207. So I can add that 207. Now I need to add up all these values and minus them from 207 to get A. So, not sure if I need to do this all. Okay, let's get our calculator out. Right, and we're saying 16 plus 19 plus 18 plus 15 plus 19, 13, we'll just add these all except for A, 14, 15, 20. Check your calculator as you're going as well. 25 plus 18, and I get an answer of 192. Now if I take my 207 minus my 192, I get 15. So quite easily A is 15. Now I hope that I can actually just write in the 15, and let's just go back and write in the notes a little bit. So A, we had, add them all up, and we had, basically we had 207 females minus 192, and that was 15. Right, B, we've got to find B. B was in our percentages, these percentages. Now, if I add up all these percentages, they should add up to 18%. So let's do that. On my calculator, I've got 1,57 plus 8,26 plus 5,08. Get an answer of 14,91. So let's write that number, 14,91. So B was 18% minus 14,91. And on my calculator, I'm going to say 18 minus my answer, and I get 3,09. And remember your units was 3,09%. So we got that perfectly. We answered, calculated the missing value, we've got that, answered that question. Let's see the next one. If a weightlifter is chosen at random from the whole year's weightlifting class, what is the probability that the weightlifter will be a white female? Well, first of all, we need to work out how many white females were there in the whole year. So we know that answer. We know that there were 207 females. We also know that a white female, let's go back to our gender of our female, white female was 8,26% of our females. So we're going to take our 207 and times that by 8,26% and work out how many white females there actually were. Move my calculator back. So it was 207 times by 8,26%. It was 17,09. And I'm going to round this down to 17. But in your tests, I'd actually like you to show you that it's 17,1 and then you're rounding to 17. We're dealing with people. We can't have a 0.1 of a person. So let's actually write that as 17,1, and then we're going to make it 17 white females. Now I want to know the probability that the person chosen at random is that person. So that's my favorable outcome. There are 17 white females. Out of the total, because it did tell us here, the whole year's weightlifting class, and we knew that was 1150. And we can leave our answer like this. We can work it as a percentage, we can simplify it, but we can actually leave it as that. Fraction, perfect. Let's move on to the next part of the question. Right, so we go back to our text, or information, right? Determine the mean average of the number of males in the weightlifting class. Now tell you what, I'm going to give you a little break after a second. How do we know mean? Let's just go mean. We have to add them all. And we're going to divide by how many. So we want the average number of males in the weightlifting class. So we're going to add all these values. And we're going to divide by how many months? By 12 months. So during the break, I'm going to do this addition. I'm going to let you have a bit of a break. And when you come back, I'll have the answer ready for you. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Mindset is we are going to take a break. Before we do, quick shout outs to Apelele, Prishka, Mukove, Sizwe, Bongumusa, Katleho, and Snare. And just quickly, can I read this from Katleho Sane? No, thank you, Mindset, for making our studies fun, interesting, and easy. We really appreciate what you are doing for us. Loving the program. Yay! Thank you so much for that, guys. It's great to get messages like that from you guys, because we know that we are making a difference in your educational lives. So with that said, we are going to take a very quick break, and we'll see you straight after this. Welcome back, Mindsetters, from that break. Just to clarify some stuff here, I see a lot of you are still confused about the competition. So you're asking me, Looney, what is a race number? A race number is what you need to fill in the entry form and complete it. The race number is found at the bottom of your last page of the show notes. But just don't tell anyone. The race number for today is A0411. I didn't tell you that. Anyways, so what you do with that race number is that you go to www.mindset.co.za/learn/win. Now that link is the link to your entry form. What you do in the entry form, you fill in, and that A0411 race number is part of the entry form. There is a space for the race number, so you have to fill that in, guys, and then you submit it, and that's all. And then you wait and you watch all the live shows, and one of the live shows will have a lucky draw and announce a winner. That is as simple as that. So I hope you guys are good. Haley.
Sounds easy enough.
Very easy.
Absolutely easy enough. Okay, guys, during the break, I added up all our values, so I ended up with 943. Now, very important, I want you to show me that step. So many of my kids do it on the calculator, get an answer, they get the total, divide by 12, and then just give me the answer. And I really want you to show me that step. So it was 943 divided by 12. Now let's do that on the calculator. 943 divided by 12, and we get an answer of 78.58. So 78.58. Now that is the average number of males in a weightlifting class per month. We want the modal monthly number of females in the weightlifting class. The modal is our most. So modal's the most. So let's go back to our females. And we want to see, remember, that was 15. So we can add that number. And now we look through to see which one occurs the most. And I can see that I've got 3 15s, and I think 15 is it. I've got 2 18s. Let's mark those separately. 2 18s, and I can go through this again. So it looks like 15 is your modal. Most is 15. Now, if by some chance you got that answer incorrect, where we had to work out the 15, you got A wrong, your mode will be different. And that's fine. You should get the marks for that mode that you've given. So maybe you would have said your mode is 18 and 15. You will be fine with that. The next question says, determine the median of the number of males in the weightlifting class. Now, during the break, I kind of knew this was coming. I wrote out all the numbers in order because they have to be in order. So if I look at these numbers, they are in order, and I need the middle number. Median is your middle. Remember your D, your ID, the middle. So I've got 12 numbers that I know 6 on one side and 6 on the other side. It's basically going to be between 79 and 80. So to show it, I say 79 plus 80. Also show me this value, divide by 2. And we know that it's the number in between, and that's quite easy to see because they're consecutive numbers. So it's 79 and a half. I also want to know the range of numbers of females in the weightlifting class. Okay, let's go back up to our females. Our lowest number that we had is 13, so I'm going to highlight this with a different color. So there's my lowest. My highest is 25, so my range is my highest minus my lowest. So range was 25 minus 13, and that's 12. And then the next question says, state with reason whether the mean, mode, or median best describes the data values of the number of males in the weightlifting class. Now, what we've done with the males, we've got their median, we've got their mean, which are very similar numbers. So that's 79.5, 78.5. And the mode, if you look at their numbers, their mode is in actual fact 80. So, and we can see that from our order, our mode is 80. So we're looking at numbers that are really very similar. So if you kind of gave yourself the answer and you said they're all very similar, you would be fine. So which is the best? They're almost the same. So in this case, we can't say which is the best. They're almost the same. But what we see often when they ask you for the best central tendency, the median excludes outliers, excludes the big and the small. So usually, I'm going to add this kind of in brackets, usually it is the medium because it excludes outliers. Those are your very big or very small numbers. So that's what I'm going to be. In this case, they were all very similar. Right, and then let's move on to the next question. So we've got question 3 now. Comes from the exemplar paper, and it's question 4 in the exemplar paper. We've got Miss Moyana has the following floor plan for the new house that she wants to build. Use the plan below to answer the questions that follow. So we're looking at a floor plan. It's important for us to analyze pictures, drawings, whatever they give you. This is the floor plan for Mrs. Moyana's house. We've got bathrooms, kitchens, there's a stoop lounge. This is the front of the house, bedroom, and a bedroom. And that's perfect. On the plans, you can see things like windows. We can see things like doors. And we've got doors. There's probably your front door. There's a window. So we can see a lot of information. Now, you guys should have worked with these plans over and over throughout the year. So this should not be anything new for you. The outer dimensions of bedroom 2 are 3.45 meters by 3.45 meters. So bedroom 2, the outer dimensions. The length of bedroom 2 on the plan is 3.45 centimeters. So now it says determine the scale used in the plan. So we know from the plan, let's change our color here, we know that 3.45 centimeters measured on the plan is equal to 3.45 meters in real life. Now, when we asked for a scale, we can't work in 2 units, so we need to convert that to centimeters. So we're going to times that by 100. So I'm going to say 3.45 centimeters is equal to 345 centimeters. And now I want to know my scale. I write my scale in the form of 1 to something. So I want 1 to how much? And maybe I shouldn't have put equal signs. Maybe it would have been better with ratio. 1 to how much? So I'm going to divide by 3.45, divide by 3.45. And I can do that on the calculator. Don't know if you need to. You see that, we'll do it here, 345 over 3.45, and you'll see that the answer is 100. So my scale was 1 to 100. Now you might have been able to answer that a whole lot quicker and just seen that, well, they've changed centimeters to meters, therefore it must be 100. You might have been able to do that. That's perfect. So as long as you've determined the scale. How many windows are at the front of the house? So let's go back to our drawing at our front of our house. This is the front of the house. We can see on the stoop there are no windows. There's a door. There's a window there. So there is only one window. All right, let's move on to the next part of the house. Next part of the question. I suppose next part of the house. The diagram below shows different elevations of the house, whose plan is shown on the previous page. So you can see the elevations. Now, on the elevations now, we're looking at the 4 different sides of the house. So we're looking at the side. There's a door. There's 4 windows. There's a door. There's 1 window. The back now, no doors, but 3 windows. And absolutely no windows, no doors. Which one of the diagrams above is the front elevation? Now remember in our front, we had 1 window and we had 1 door. So which shows us the front It is only that one. Because that's got a door, it's got too many windows. That's got too many windows, so only one can be C. So our answer is C. For which rooms on the floor plan are the windows shown in diagram B? So now we've got diagram B. Diagram B has got 3 windows. So let's go back to we have to go back a page to our drawing. We need to find one that has 3 windows. We got 1 window there and a door. There was no door in diagram B. So it can only be the side that has the 3. Let's do it in a different color. There's 1 window, 2 windows, 3 windows. So where are those windows pointing into? Bedroom 1 and the lounge. So this is bedroom 1 and the lounge. They don't ask you which is facing in which way. We don't know that. But which rooms on the floor are the windows shown in diagram B. Right, let's move on to the next part of the question. Oh, okay. That was the end of the question, I guess. Let's move on to the next question. I already was thinking there was something else coming with that house. Don't know why. So, question 4 now is now taken from paper 2. Question 4, and we've got Mrs. Kosa and her husband are planning to have 3 children. I always love the way they ask this kind of question. Mrs. Kosa and her husband, because is he not Mr. Kosa?
Really?
Okay, so Mrs. Kosa and her husband. So they're planning to have 3 children. But we need to draw a tree diagram showing all possible combinations of boys and girls in a family of 3 children. And this is a stunning tree diagram, and I'm hoping that you've done hundreds of these in class. So let's start off, and to change our color, I think I'll go for some bright yellow. So we start off, and with a tree diagram, we always look at different events. So our first event is the first birth. So Mrs. Kosa is going to have a child, and her child can be either a boy or a girl. Those are the only choices she has for the first birth. Now for her second birth, we don't know whether she had a boy or a girl. So if she had had a boy, okay, let's change color. We can now have a boy or a girl. But her first birth might have been a girl. So for the second birth, we could have had a boy or a girl. Then we go on to the third child. Third child now, for each one of these, each branch, you need to add the next branches, because she could have had a boy and a girl, and then she still could have a boy or a girl. So we need to practice tree diagrams if this doesn't make any sense. And the question then says, show all possible combinations. So we've drawn our tree diagram, but I have to show the combinations. So I'm going to take a different color. And I like to actually highlight. And I'm going to show you how I highlight with one color. Let me see if I can actually get a highlighter on here. Okay, not going to work. Pen type. Let's see if I can work a highlighter. So I like to highlight. This is not going to work. No, that's not going to work. Let's try the green. Okay, highlight the green. Oh, that's why I didn't highlight, because it was the same color. So highlight the green. That's not going to work. Let's undo that. Never mind. I'll show you without the highlighter. Let's go back to my pens. Right, let's use a different color pen. So I don't think I've used pink. Let's go back to the beginning. Highlight. That's a boy, boy, boy. So that's my first combination. 3 boys. Go back to the very beginning. So it's boy, boy, girl. And make sure that every single one is highlighted. And this really is easier with highlighters. So now go back to the beginning. Boy, I've finished that whole tree. So I go down here. Girl, boy. So it's boy, girl, boy. And then I go back to the beginning. Boy, girl, girl. Now I've completed all the top branches. So I start at the bottom branches. So I've got girl, boy, boy. And you take your time, you will actually get through this. Girl, boy, girl. and work just logically. Girl, we finished that one. Girl, boy. And finally, girl, girl, girl. Now, have we answered the question that says combination of boys and girls in the family? Show all the outcomes. I've got all that. Now let's see, what is the probability of Mrs. Koza having at least 2 girls? Now I go back to my probabilities, and I see that in these probabilities I had 8 possible outcomes. And we want at least 2 girls. So all I need to do is find out which ones have 2 girls. So those are boys, that's not enough girls. There's one, that's too many boys. There's another one, there's a third, and there's a fourth of at least 2 girls. So now, simply, it's my favorable outcome. 2, at least 2 girls, 4 out of 8. And I can leave it as that, or I can simplify it. So what's the probability? Perfect. And the last question is list all the outcomes where Mrs. Koza can have 2 boys and 1 girl. So now you're going to go back and you're going to list all the outcomes where she can have, what was it you said? 2 boys and 1 girl. So I take a different color. What color haven't we used? Let's try green. 2 boys and a girl, there's 1. 2 boys and a girl, there's a second. 2 boys and a girl, there's a third. There should only be 3. So what have we got? She can have 2 boys and a girl. She can have a boy, a girl, a boy. Or she can have a girl first and then a boy and a boy. And you can quite easily see how the girl has kind of like third, the middle, and the first. And those are all your outcomes. We've answered the questions. Then I've come to the end of the questions that I want to show you. So I've probably got a few minutes that I can just talk to you. I'm hoping that I have got some time. So let me put my pen down. What I want you to do, grade 11s, is to read your questions carefully. Don't forget to do that. Understand the question. Interpret tables and graphs before you go on and read the questions. Don't be hasty about it. Don't like rush into the question. Try and make sense of the question. Do it step by step. Show working always. Show your answers and units. Don't forget your units. Make sure your calculator, you know how to work your calculator, and make sure that you enter the calculator exactly the way that you want to. You know, it's so easy to type in the wrong number on a calculator and think, well, the calculator gave me that answer, it must be the fact. But just be careful, double check what you know what you're doing. And after I've said that, I think I've enough time to say good luck. And I'm going to hand you back over and say, cheers, guys.
Oh, thank you so much for the great lesson. Thank you for those wonderful words of wisdom and all that advice. Thank you so much,
Hope
Haley.
they take the advice.
Yes, mindset is please take all the advice you can get for your exams because it's tough out there. And we're going the distance together here trying to help you with everything that you do in all your exam preparations. Do your best, guys. Believe in yourselves. Don't let anyone tell you that you're stupid and you're dumb and all of that stuff. Just always do your best. We love you very much. Remember, if you need extra help, you can always send your questions to helpdesk@learnextra.co.za and a teacher will answer you as soon as possible. Everything of the best for your exams. We love you very much and I'll see you same time, same place next week. So it is a goodbye from us.